In this video, we will be taking a look at the batch scheduler module and how it can help with your processing of your orders and your efficiency within your warehouse. What we're going to do first is from our dashboard, we are going to go to picking and packing on our left-hand menu. Then we're going to come down to manage batches. Within manage batches, up at the top on the right-hand side, we have our schedules option. What we'll want to do first is we will want to go to templates. In here, we can create our templates for our batch scheduler to run based off of. So what we're going to do is at the top right-hand side, we are going to click into add template. And then within here, we are now going to add our template. So what I'll do to begin with is select a client for my filter. And then we've got all different ones that we can assign. We can have it based on the courier, the specific courier service. We can use countries and dispatch dates. We also have channels, we can have tags, and we can use country zones. If you wanted to do more specific, you are also able to do single line, multi-line orders. So if you'd like to use the single line order, you can turn that one on and then select your specific product to be added into your template for your batch. If we would like to, we can also use the single unit and multi-unit only batch template options. So if we wanted to only batch together orders with multiple units within it, we can turn that one on. And then we would then be able to select our maximum number of units per order. So we could put that to however high you would like it to be. We then, down towards the bottom, can set minimum and maximum weights per order. We can set a minimum quantity of SKUs and a maximum number of SKUs as well. If you would like to, you can also exclude certain SKUs from going into your batches as well. So if you wanted to batch some items together, but not all, you can select certain ones to exclude from this list here. Then down at the bottom, on the left-hand side, we are able to add our reference that we would like our batch template to be using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my template for orders that are tagged with fragile. So I would like to include the tags fragile, and that's what it will then include. What I'm going to also do is select my maximum batch size to only batch together up to 10 orders. Then what I would do is give it the reference of fragile. And then I will go down to the bottom right and I will save that template. Once we've created our template, we can then head back to picking and packing and manage batches. We can then go to schedules up on the right-hand side. Once we click into here, we can then add our batch schedule. So when we come through to this page, what we can do is we can give our batch schedule a reference. So this could be the same as your template reference. So I'm going to just put fragile into mine. Once we've added our reference in, we can then select our schedule frequency. So this is how frequent we would like our schedule of this batch creation to run. So we've got the option of custom, which would allow you to set the days to run, the start and end time, and the delay for how frequent you'd like it to run. We can select daily, so that would allow you to set the time of day and the days for that to run. And we also have weekly, which would allow you to set the day of the week for this batch template to run and the time of day for it to run. For mine, I'm going to select custom. So because we've selected custom, I don't have to fill in these fields below. However, if we had selected weekly, we would add our day of the week for it to run. And if we had selected daily or weekly, we could then apply our time of day for it to run. What we'd do next is we would then select our batch template ID. So I'm going to click on my drop down and select my fragile template that I have just created. We can then set this one to active. So as soon as we save it, it can then begin running. We can apply our delay so that this is how frequent it will run. So I'm going to select my delay to 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, it's going to then run and try and create a batch. So next we have our minimum batch size. So this would be how many orders must be grouped together for our batch to be made. So the recommended is 2, so that you will always have a minimum of 2 orders within your batch. Now we can select our days to run. So because I've selected my custom frequency, it allows me to select that one, and you can also do it if you've selected daily. So if I click into here, that gives me my drop down. So I would like this to run Monday to Friday. So I can just select those days that I would like it to run on, and it will only run on those specified days. I can then set my start time so that I then have my time that I would like it to run from. So I would like this to start running at 9 a.m. every morning throughout the week. And then I can set my end time as I've selected the custom frequency. So I'd like this to finish running at 5:30 every day. So as we come down, we then have our repeat until no more batches can be made option. So this is an optional setting that you can turn on. This would allow the template to continue running and keep creating batches until no more batches can be made and the criteria is no longer met within that template. So I will turn that one on, so it will just continue making those. So our final switch that we have is apply mobile picking rules. This will allow the order status to change from new to awaiting picking once the batches have been created. So this will allow the system to automatically assign your orders within your batch to your handheld scanner for you. So we're going to turn this one on. We'll leave the user set to all so that when this assigns to the scanners, all users will have the option to retrieve these orders from their pool of orders. For my picking type, I'm going to select FlexiPick so that I will assign every order from this batch as a FlexiPick. We can also set our mobile picking priority. So within here, we have the option for a P1 urgent pick. So this would then set your urgent batch to be at the top of the list to be picked first, and you will also see a P1 registered against it. You have P2 for a normal pick, so it will assign and you will see P2. And you have P3, which is a low priority, which will have P3 against it and will go to the bottom of the list. So once we've assigned our mobile picking priority, we're going to add our schedule into the system. I've prepared some test orders so that I can show you this running. So I'm going to go to my order overview and then I'll scroll across so we can see I have 3 orders with the tag of fragile. So what we're now going to do is go back to picking and packing, manage batches. I'm going to then go to my schedules. I'm going to scroll across to the right hand side. I have a button that I can press so that I can test the schedule and I can run it so that you can see how that one works. You won't have access to this button as that is a super user only permission, so you will not have access to that one. So what I'm going to do is click run now to then run my template, and that has now created a batch successfully and processed one new batch. So now I've run my schedule, I'm going to go back to picking and packing, manage batches, and we'll see the batch at the top is my batch that I've just created and my schedule that I have just run. So I'm going to go to actions and view, and we can then see that it has put those 3 orders in there that all have the tag of fragile. What I can do is now go back again to picking and packing and to manage batches. I can click into my schedules. If I go back over to the right hand side, you have the option to edit your schedule. So you can click edit and it will take you back through to here so that then you can come back and you can make any changes that you may need to that one. Once you make your changes, you hit update and that will save and make those changes. What we can also do is we can delete our schedules. So if you no longer require the schedule, you can click delete and that will delete it out of the system for you. We can also copy the schedule. So if you had a very similar schedule to run, or you just wanted to keep the same format but use a different template, we could copy our schedule. That will create a second one, which will have the title of copy. and then we could edit that one, and you could change your reference and select a new template for it to run. That is our batch scheduler. Thank you very much for watching.